That's why rich people get richer and poor people get poorer. Most motherfuckers over the last 2 years that know how to make money, they got richer. Most poor people were even more poor than they were 2 years ago. That's how the system works.
But how is it that we've ended up with a system in which banks have the power to create money?
1971, we created we took the dollar off of the gold standard. In 1971,
it that we've ended up
let's watch
The
this.
system, and that's why prices are going up.
But how is it that we've ended up with a system in which banks have the power to create money?
1931, okay, we passed the Federal Reserve Act where we gave our money away to the banks. Their ability to print money, it was given to the banks, right? It wasn't a right that belonged to the people. Then, okay, we took gold, the gold standard, and ripped it apart from money. So money was no longer valued based off of gold, which we could attribute and count there's treasuries for. Now it was just fucking imaginary. That's what happened.
Since 1971, when President Nixon took the United States off what was left of the gold standard, the world has operated under a system of money known as fiat. The dollar, the pound, the euro are all government fiat currencies. Fiat is a Latin word meaning let it be so. It is the law that this government currency be money. Indeed, without that legal enforcement and the fact that we must pay taxes with this money, that dollar bill or that computer digit that represents a dollar would be pretty much meaningless. Only the government has the power to issue fiat money, but banks can create it through lending. Over the last 40 years, since this system of fiat money became the global norm, the supply of money has grown exponentially. In fact, we've seen the greatest growth in the supply of money in history. But who benefits?
The banks benefit, the rich people benefit.
Of course, those that have the power to issue money, governments and banks. Then, those companies and individuals that get this money early. They can spend it before the prices of the things they want to buy have risen to reflect the new money in circulation.
I just explained this concept to you guys. It's crazy.
In other words, they get services, products or assets cheap.
And then they
But
sell it high.
prices soon rise. So holders of assets such as houses or shares will then see gains without there necessarily being any improvements to the company or house in question. Often this can
Inflation.
lead to speculative bubbles. But what about those at the bottom
And they're not speculative bubbles. You know what they are? They are fabricated bubbles because that's how fiat fucking money works.
of the pyramid? Those on fixed wages or incomes, those who live in remote areas, or those with savings. By the time this newly created money has filtered down to them, the
It's
prices of the
worthless.
things they want to buy have increased. Their savings buy them less, however, and their wages remain largely unchanged. In some cases, they have to take on debt just to be able to afford the things they were previously able to buy, which means they have to go back to the banks.
And get what?
In reality, this
More
process
loans.
of creating money only redistributes wealth from the bottom to the top of the pyramid, and thus that ever-increasing gulf
Because they print the fake money and then the interest, right, which is real, gets sent back to the bank, right? The hard-earned money, the interest, and that gets fucking pocketed. I'm teaching you guys how this entire thing works. You're not going to learn this in school. Not going to learn this in the system. They want to keep you blinded with, oh, Trump didn't pay his taxes. He didn't show his tax returns. Dude, do you think rich people pay fucking taxes? Fucking noobs. Rich people don't fake.
between rich and poor
It's ridiculous.
gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, when you get off the gold standard and you go into a fiat money currency, combined with a fractional reserve banking system, you end up compounding debt faster than you can ever possibly produce to support that debt. So eventually you're going to find yourself back into debt slavery. And that's what's happened in the U.S. For every dollar of GDP, for example, in the U.S., it also
They print 9 or 10 of them.
creates something like $5.50 worth of debt.
It's crazy.
Because this is what happens when our economy flips over and basically capsizes. And of course, the government solution now to address all the problems is basically to create more debt.
You can never get enough of a currency that doesn't work. You can print it till kingdom comes, but you can't print wealth and you can't get yourself out of debt by making more debt. If you could print wealth, Zimbabwe would be the largest, most prosperous country on the planet. We all know it doesn't work.
Of the money in the world today, 97% of it is debt.
97% of the money circulating. You think you're fucking rich? You think you got money? All these fucking clowns talking about Lambos and bitches and flexing these watches and all this dumbass shit. They're broke. They're broke. They don't understand the game. They don't understand the system. I'm waking you the fuck up. W in the chat, baby.
The French philosopher Voltaire once said, "All paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value."
Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing. The pyramid scheme game is coming to an end, guys. It's coming to an end. And you guys are working for it. This is not a scam. This is not some crazy information that's out there. This is a system that you live in. But then you try to help people and you try to educate people on how to get out, and the fucking drones of the system will call you a scam. They'll say, no, but you don't know anything. You can't educate people. A lot of you guys are in your 20s. A lot of you guys are in your 30s. A lot of you guys are in your teens, and you've never heard this. You've never been exposed to this true information. That's why at Capital Club, our objective is to teach you guys how the fucking world works. And once you know how the world works, you start working towards getting out of this bullshit. And you can't get out of the bullshit unless you're educated. You can't get educated unless you have people that understand how it works and help you get out. So I hope you guys are leaving better than you came today, because that was the purpose of today's stream. We covered a ton of topics. We covered a lot of information. Hit the like button if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably one of the most valuable streams any person will watch. We covered the bullshit of the VAXs at the beginning. We covered how the news outlets are absolutely a scam. Now we're talking about fractional reserve banking, why the entire system is a scam. We talked about psychological warfare with Yuri Bezmenov, and that is the nature of the game. That is the nature of the game. If you feel cheated and you feel like your entire life was a scam, you have the right to feel that way. You have the right to feel that way. You have been cheated. You have been scammed from the moment you were born. And a lot of these fucking morons on the internet, right? They're going to hate on you because they have what's called cognitive dissonance. They can't reason with logic. They can't reason with the facts. It is easier to convince somebody, right, that they're right, than convince them that they've been fooled. It's easier to lie to people and tell them, you know what, everything's okay. It's easier to lie to people. It's a lot harder to tell them, you know what, your entire life has been a shit show. It's all a joke. It's all a joke. If you guys haven't hit the like button, I would highly appreciate it. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, okay? I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're back for another fucking session, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Lou Belmar, the best fucking host on the internet. I'm going to teach you guys how to make it out of this fucking thing. I promise you. We're going to do this together. We're going to elevate to a completely new level.